is good, everybody who is listening? Episode 52, TalkBall Tweakers. We're back at it. Got a lot of stuff to talk about. NFL draft happened pretty recently. We got the playoffs. We're gonna get to the playoffs. We got two disappointed and disgusted fans.
Hmm.
Um, but how we feeling today? How's everything been?
Another day in the office, fellas. I feel good, except for the Pistons. I feel good. That's
I don't care about the playoffs. My eyes have been
they
on the
dragged me
lottery.
down.
My eyes have been on the lottery, dude.
I was
Yeah,
gonna
no
say,
wonder you don't care about the playoffs.
how
Your
about to say
team ain't looking.
we know Jake don't care. Jake's over here looking at who's declaring for the draft.
Hey, I'm having a great time with the Stanley Cup playoffs and watching these teams beat the fucking shit out of one another. Like it is so fun. The first round of the Stanley Cup playoffs are great. I know we don't do hockey, but like it's just a much better product than the first round of the NBA. So we're enjoying it. And of course, this is the one week the Jets are good. So this is the one week a year. So I'm fine with it.
On draft days, the one week they're
Yeah, we
good.
we're really good at talking ourselves up, and I'll get into that once we like talk about the draft. But yeah, no, I'm happy
Yeah.
for
I
now.
bet. I bet. Well, before we get into it, let's
Talk
talk
Talk ball. Oh,
ball.
you brought a
Yeah, I got a
basketball.
ball. Yeah.
You held it
Uh,
more than Jalen Duren last night.
yeah, we'll get into that. I've never seen somebody actually play themselves out of generational wealth quicker, but we'll get into that later. I got my rants and rambles for that. But let's start with the NFL draft, which was in Pittsburgh. Pretty good draft. I enjoyed watching it. First round, not many surprises. We'll start with the first round and just kind of go off that and tell me who the biggest surprises were or biggest selections, the best selections, things that stuck out to you in that first round.
Yeah, for sure. If we're doing individual player selections for the first round, I think the best selection in terms of value, and again, value is a very subjective term, so take it as you will. It's Caleb Downs to the Dallas Cowboys at 11. I think you could make an argument that Caleb Downs was one of the best players in the draft, if not the best player in the draft. 100 tackles as a freshman at Alabama, then an All-American both years at Ohio State, all the accolades, best safety in America. And Dallas, I mean, the Dallas Cowboys defense was putrid. And then you add Caleb Downs, who is going to be immediately, if he stays healthy, 80, 90 tackle guy, right? And then if you're going to make it a whole team thing based on the first round, Dallas traded up and got Malachi Lawrence too. And one of their biggest problems was rushing the passer last year. And now in the past 7 months, Dallas has added to their defense Caleb Downs, Quinnen Williams, Rashawn Gary, and yeah, it's just exciting for them because I said it on my TikTok video, and I meant to say it to you guys. Like, if Dallas has a top 15 defense, they're a Super Bowl contender because we know what that offense can do. And so for them to get Caleb Downs, a player of that caliber, that really stood out to me. And as a team, I thought Dallas crushed the first round at least, and then we'll get more into the later rounds after. But trading back up to get Lawrence, who has a lot of potential, yeah, no, that's really exciting for them.
Yeah. I would agree that it's the Caleb Downs. Um, I mean, you just with I think Jake, you put it perfectly in terms of value. Like, just I mean, they got him what at 11, and
Yeah.
so getting Caleb Downs at pick 11 is kind of insane. And you think about just the career that he had in college and the type of player that he is. Um, You've seen Ryan Day talking about it and Nick Saban on the desk, just talking about how NFL ready he was, how NFL ready he was just coming into college as a freshman. So, I mean, the caliber is there with Caleb Downs. You know he's got the skill set, and I think he's going to be a hell of a player for the Dallas Cowboys. The Giants absolutely tweaked for not going for it with him at pick number 10, but I mean, I don't know. I kind of get it. Maybe we'll talk about that in a little bit, but I kind of understand it, kind of don't. Um, I think I really like the Arvel Reese pick though by them at number 5. Arvel Reese is a baller. He's a guy who was dominating. Probably Ohio State's best behind Caleb Downs. Um, and he was just a hell of a linebacker in college. And I think every time you watched Ohio State, it was like that Arvell Reese guy is that dude can play some football. So yeah, I really like the Arvell Reese pick. And then I think that I also like the Makai Lemon pick with at pick number 20 for Philadelphia. Um, I mean, I didn't think he was going to fall that far down. I think there was some talk, some controversy about his character, people may say, just with his pre-draft interviews and things like that. I literally don't think he did anything wrong. Like everybody
Nah,
was
he
just
was acting weird in the combine interviews. He was like,
Yeah,
I
he was.
feel that, but like I mean, if you watch like just the interviews he did, like it's just the way he talks, and it's like, I mean, like, what else do you want him? I
I mean,
mean,
also he's playing a position where like that does not matter. Your attitude and everything, that's the most diva position, so it really does not matter.
that's also what I'm saying. It's like, who cares if a wide receiver is gonna act out their ass? Like, it doesn't really matter, bro. Like, it's whatever. So I think the Makai Lemon pick at pick 20, like Ollie Roseman just did it once again. Like, just absolutely amazing. The way that he's able to pull trickery out of his hats, out of his sleeves. So that was a pick I liked. And then also Ruben Bain to Tampa Bay. I think that was another great value pick there at I think what was that, 12 that they got him?
15.
Or 15. Yeah. See, like I mean, we were talking about Ruben Bain. We were talking about Ruben Bain 2 months ago being a top five pick in the NFL draft. I know he had the little controversy, um, with I think it was what was it, a driving issue or something happened, but
There's also
um,
his measurables. People were calling him
Yeah,
dinosaur
no.
T-Rex
What's up?
arms.
What's up with all the
yeah,
bangs and having T-Rex arms? Like it's
yeah,
crazy.
his measurables as well was a concern, but I think Ruben Bain's a dog. I think if you just strictly watch his highlights, you strictly watch him play football, you know he's a dog, and who care, like the measurements and all that other shit, like whatever the case may be, it's whatever. But Ruben Bain's a dog, and I think that they got a very very good uh high value pick there with Ruben Bain at 15. So those are mine.
Yeah, those are good selections. I was gonna say the Makai Lemon one as well. So I write for Last Word on Sports covering the Rams, and the whole way leading up to the draft, it was Makai Lemon to the Rams. Makai Lemon to the Rams. They
Yeah.
kind of need a second receiver because Puka is the only one that has high usage in the open field. Obviously, they got Devontae Adams, but he was more of a red zone threat, and he's become less of a open field target. And so I felt like getting Makai Lemon, who proved himself, Fred Biletnikoff Award winner, had 1,100 yards, or I think it's 1,100, but he had more than 1,000, and it was a really great season. Obviously, a top pass catcher, the second best on the board for receiver. I thought, they were going to select him, and they went with Ty Simpson instead. And the fact that he fell all to the Eagles tells you everything you need to know. Anytime the Eagles select somebody and they fall in the draft, it means they just got an absolute stud. That's what it means. We saw what happened with Carter when he was supposed to go to the Bears, and then the whole thing happened, and then he dropped all the way to the Eagles, and he's been fine. So that was the biggest thing for me that kind of surprised me, because I was writing articles about who the Rams were gonna draft, and Ty Simpson was the beginning. Like when the season ended, everyone thought Ty Simpson to the Rams, and so they kind of hit it. That was the other thing that I was gonna say was Ty Simpson was such an interesting pick. I understand it. Again, they're favorites to win the Super Bowl next year. So you would think you would draft a receiver to help win right now, a guy who's going to be a day one starter. But instead, you pick Ty Simpson. I get it. I also felt as if Ty Simpson, he's not like he's a project, but he doesn't have the measurables that you would get from like a project. You know what I mean? Like he's a good player, but you don't think, yeah, that's gonna be my starter for the next decade to 2 decades, depending on how he plays. So that was really interesting. McVay had a mixed reaction on draft night to it. He didn't look happy. Um, there's a whole lot of controversy behind the Ty Simpson pick, but at the end of the day, I understand that you don't want to be in quarterback purgatory where the Steelers are in. Steelers fans are in hell right now because they don't even know what's going on. And then you look at Green Bay, who decided to move on from Rodgers, who's now putting another team in hell, and they have their answer right now. Even though he was unhappy, they now are in a secure place. So it makes sense, and I get it. I just would have preferred that they at least, if they were gonna do that, trade. They could have traded down and back up like the Giants did last year and still select him. Even if it was late second round or late first round, second round, early second round, they could have done that. So I don't know. People criticize the Denver Broncos when they selected Bo Nix, and I said, listen, if you like a guy, just pick him. It doesn't matter. And now he's right. He's a plug and play guy for Denver, and he's facilitating that offense. So at the end of the day, I don't have a problem with it. It is what it is with the Ty Simpson. The last one I'm going to say is Mansour Delaney. Um, Chiefs did an excellent job. Brett Veach did a wonderful job of not alerting anybody that Mansour Delaney was going to get picked at 9. They traded with, was it with the Bengals, or because I know the Bengals had it looked like the Bengals were going to select Delaney because they needed a corner. So it looked like whole time leading up, Delaney's going to get, going to be selected to the Bengals. And then they slide up to that 9 spot. Um, and they select him. They basically said that they didn't tell anybody. They kept it under hush. And so for them to get him, trade up and get him, he's the best corner, great measurables, was great at LSU. To get him was amazing by Kansas City. And you could have seen it coming. I mean, they let two of their corners go, so you knew they were going to have to get a corner at some point. And for people not to see that, they're the best corner drafting team in the league because they just spit out corners, whether it's L'Jarius Sneed, Trent McDuffie, Jalen Watson. They draft them really well. Doesn't matter. From round 1 to round 7, they draft corners really well. I don't know what it is. Spags is a great coach, a great developmental system. So Mansour Delaney is going to be a top corner within the next 2 years. He's going to be a top 5 corner. Mark my words. Like, this is the
Hmm.
team to do it. So, um, yeah, that's pretty much it. The other one I'll just say before we move on is just Jeremiah Love going that high. As we know, if you have a running back in it, you have a terrible team. Because you think Carson Beck is going to use Jeremiah Love effectively? Let's be honest here. No. All right, he noodle armed it to lose the national championship game. So what's going to happen when he gets to the pros? But we'll save that for when the Cardinals are 2-15 in the season. But all right,
Yeah.
we're gonna move
One thing
on.
on
Go ahead.
Simpson very, very fast
Go
is
ahead.
like I've warmed up to it. I really didn't like it at the time, because the Rams, like we said, win now team, gotta pick a guy to win now. But if 5 years from now, if Ty Simpson's a good quarterback in the NFL, no one's gonna be downing the pick. And I think a lot of people forgot the Rams got better this offseason. They didn't only get better, they got a lot better this offseason. You bring in Jalen Watson and Trent McDuffie, and you still have 2,000-yard receivers. Like Devontae Adams is still an elite wide receiver too. And if Matthew Stafford plays at an MVP level, they're going to be in the fold regardless of who they picked at 13. Also, just it provides a little insurance too, because like, look, I'm not speaking it into existence. Matthew Stafford has dealt with injuries outside of last year, when all the years besides winning the Super Bowl with LA. And so you have Ty Simpson there too. And just to sit and learn from one of the best, like I'm open to it because it's the most important position in football. And as a fan of a team that hasn't had the most important position in football for 50 years, like you got to go get your guy. And so that's just what I wanted to say on that. I've warmed up to it.
I
Uh,
mean, like,
go ahead.
I want to chime in on the Simpson thing real quick because my thing is like, I mean, we watched him at Bama, and it was like, okay, he had good games, and then he had some not so good games. And I think that he is a quarterback that can go in, and I think he is a guy who can develop, and he can be in that role behind a all-time great and Hall of Famer quarterback and learn from him, and I think that can help him out tremendously, and we could end up being like, okay, listen, the Rams were correct, they were right. Dan Orlovsky was right. Like I think that could end up being the case here. The only thing that I have an issue with, though, with that pick is why not just wait till next year when you've got a deeper quarterback draft and you know for a fact that Matthew Stafford is playing for the next 3 years. Like that, I think that's a given there. Like Matt Stafford's locked in for the next 3 years ish. Maybe
Not if they win the Super Bowl. That's what their fear is. If we win the Super Bowl, he can walk away tomorrow, and he's already a first ballot, and then
he
we have
could.
nothing.
He could, absolutely. But that's also my thing. Even if he retires after next year. you've got that draft with the quarterback deep draft to go and get a guy, you know? That's all I'm saying. So I think and that goes back to my case of this could end up being something where we're like the Rams were right, Dan Orlovsky was right. They could see something in Ty Simpson that other people don't see. The media doesn't see, the fans don't see. Like they could be seeing something in him and we could be wrong about that. So maybe that's the case there, but I just don't understand the rush to go get a guy and you've got a really, really deep quarterback draft coming in next year. And it's like even if Stafford retires after next year, you go and get your guy then. It's like, I don't know. So
Yeah, I get it. They probably just felt like I said, if we win it all and Stafford retires, we have nothing. And you think about it, they have no leverage in the draft, which means they don't have a first round pick. Or I don't. Well, they would, but it wouldn't be a quality pick. It'd be towards the back end of the first round. You're not spending a late first round pick on a quarterback normally, and obviously it is a deep class. But like, let's say if it's somebody that they don't like let's say I don't know, quarterback in South Carolina, right? Let's say he goes. What's his name? Quarterback in South Carolina. I can't
Lenore
remember.
Sellers.
Lenore Sellers, right? But let's say McVay's like, I don't like Sellers from my team, right? Because I think McVay has a certain model of what he wants as a quarterback, more pocket
Yeah.
passer-ish, with a little bit more mobility if they can. But I think for them, they were probably like, in this draft, we'll just go and select a guy. I also hold the same sentiment. Like, I don't understand it. Go get a guy who's gonna help you next year. That's what you should be worried on. But again, there are teams that are in quarterback hell right now that have no idea where they're going. They're just treading water. I mean, Pittsburgh, the Steelers are they have no idea. They still don't know if Aaron Rodgers is going to be their quarterback. And Aaron Rodgers is AFK. He's somewhere doing ayahuasca in the middle of the forest while they're trying to determine who's going to throw the football to people. And so they're probably like, we're going to just cut it out right now, get our guy, and train him. And the thing is, if you sit him for 2 years behind Stafford and McVay, chances are he's going to be good. Right? It's hard to be bad sitting behind a future Hall of Famer and a future Hall of Fame head coach. So, I get it. But all right, let's move on to the later rounds of the draft. Would you guys just talk about like what picks do you think were, either they could be steals, they could be great picks, a guy or two, a couple guys that like really stood out to you in the draft in terms of this team selected this player and they're gonna be really great and they slid or whatever, players like that. And then we'll talk about like what teams had the best and best draft.
Um, yeah, I was gonna go off on a team, but a player. I mean, Jermod McCoy's the one. This guy was projected to go in the top 10, and I understand the injury concerns, but he still could be a top 10 player. He could still be one of the best corners in the league, and to get him at pick 101 is just incredible value there. He's someone that he's long, he's athletic, he makes plays, and he could change a defense if he's healthy. Again, it's a big if, but if he gets regenerative surgery or whatever and then comes back and he's really good, then that's a great pick straight off there. One more that I really like. I'm going down to the Ravens who always draft well. Zion Young and Elijah Surratt and Jacoby Lane. I'll even throw him in. You got to start with Zion Young, first round projection there. But then again, like the guy is so fast, could bend, do all those things. He now joins the Ravens pass rush that was pretty good last year. And then you're bringing in two big bodied receivers in Lane and Surratt. Surratt led college football in receiving touchdowns last year with 15. Lane, he's a freak at 6'5". And the Ravens are lacking a big receiver. Like they wanted it to be DeAndre Hopkins, but realistically, how is DeAndre Hopkins going to be that for a really long time? And so if either of those guys pan out, yeah, no, that's a really, really great pick for the Ravens. And then I'll throw one more out there just because I could. Um, the Seattle Seahawks, like they did barely moved in the draft, and they still had a great draft. Like you talk about Bud Clark, the safety from TCU, he's everywhere on the tape. You'll find him near the ball, and then Julian Neal, second round projection, you got him at 99, and so the Seahawks drafted well without having to move too much, and so I really like that one too.
yeah, I'm pissed you took my Ravens one, man. Like Jacoby
Hmm.
Lane, Elijah Surratt, Zion Young, those were great value picks for Baltimore. And um, just like the package deal, Jacoby Lane and Elijah Surratt, like I mean, those are tremendous picks for a team who is doesn't want to spend their first round pick on a wide receiver, especially where they were in the first round, and then you now get some weapons in the wide receiver room, and you kind of like I don't want to say reload, but like you beef up your wide receiver room very, very well with those two picks. So those are great picks by Baltimore. Um, I think overall. Cleveland had a hell of a draft, and so did Dallas. Um, I think with Cleveland though, like their two wide receiver picks, KC Conception and Denzel Boston, those were huge picks by them. And then Justin Jefferson, the linebacker out of Alabama, was a great pick. They got some offensive tackles as well to get some protection up there for Shadur or whoever the hell is going to be starting. I think we know it's going to be Shadur though probably. Um, I think overall, like those picks by them were very good. And then not saying this just because I'm a Michigan guy, but Jay Sean Barham from Ann Arbor at third round, hell of a pick. He's a physical guy, a tremendous edge rusher. He can play linebacker, so I think that's great value for them there, especially how lackluster their defense was last year. They go and kind of reload there and get a defensive guy and a guy who's super physical edge rusher and can be a great linebacker, great coverage guy as well. So, um, yeah, I think those are mine.
I really like Tennessee Titans draft. They
I do
obviously
too.
Cardinal Tate,
I do too.
Kendrick Falk, great pass, great edge from Auburn. And then the second round they got Anthony Hill Jr., who's a stud out of Texas, just monster. And then you got Nicholas Singleton after that from Penn State, who was a really good running back, a really good running back. And you got him in the fifth round. He was a great running back. And then in the sixth, you got Pat Coogan, the center from Indiana, who was terrific all year long. I was surprised Coogan fell to the sixth round. I thought maybe at least the fourth, maybe the third if somebody was desperate. Obviously, it's the center position, so he's not going to get picked high because of that. But Coogan, he was part of the offensive line that won the MVP for, was it the Rose Bowl or yeah, it was the
Rose
Rose.
Bowl. Yeah, he
Yeah, it was
won
the
Rose Bowl MVP. Just
yeah.
technically has to go to a corner.
Yeah. So I thought they had a great draft. I also liked what Buffalo did. Now, I didn't like the fact that they traded down all of those picks and a lot of their value in the picks kind of was limited, but I like Skylar Bell out of UConn. Right? UConn not really known for their football at all. All right. So for him, Skylar Bell was a really great pickup. I know they love giving Josh Allen these B-minus wide receivers who are like good, but they're not like superstars. Skylar Bell will fit
Mhm.
in that. Like he's not, I don't think he's gonna be like a 1A type of guy, but he's a guy that can get you good receptions. He can, all of a sudden explode for like, nearly 100 yards in a game. He can make big time catches. So he's a great person. They also got Igbinosa from Ohio State corner. Now I know he had the most pass interferences, but he's still pretty good. I think he has, talent. And to get him in the second round, I thought it might have been a little high to get him, but not bad. I think they did a good job. I just really like those two teams in the draft in terms of what they did. And that's really, I mean, there's other ones, but those were the ones that stood out to me. So we can go to like teams now. So like I said, I think Titans did a great job. We talked about the Ravens. The Ravens did an immaculate job. I mean, getting two big body receivers for Lamar late in the draft. Um, I think I'll address the Lions. I think the Lions did what they had to do. Last year in the draft, it was terrible. It was a terrible draft last year. This year they addressed what they had. They got Blake Miller. I can't remember who it was, but there was somebody I wanted before Blake Miller. And they didn't draft him and someone else drafted him. Let me see here. I think it was Freeling. I wanted Monroe Freeling for the Lions, but Blake Miller's not bad. He's an Iron Man. He played like every single game. He was a monster. I watched him. So rebuilding that offensive line was the premier thing that Detroit needed to do. Lions needed to rebuild the offensive line, so that wasn't bad. I think the Vegas had a good draft. Like you said, Jake, Jermod McCoy. I thought the Rams were going to select him when the first whole buzz started kicking off. I thought he could be a good pickup for the Rams, but then they got their corner situated, and then yeah, it was really during his pro day when he had that one movement and his leg looked a little funny, and everyone was like, "Ah, I don't know if I want to pick him." But I think he'll be a good player. He is a stud. Obviously, he didn't play last year with the ACL tear. He's got to really rehab that to get back. But if he's healthy, if he's fully healthy, if that leg is good, then he is an absolute steal. So
Yeah, I agree with the Raiders. I love trading Stukes too. This guy forces turnovers. Great story, walk on turned near All-American. The team that I think will not won the draft, one of the winners. I'm gonna do it. Like I don't have to defend the Jets. Like I know they're a bad football team. I know they're a bad organization. They crushed the draft again. You going into mocks, you thought that they were going to get an edge at number two and a wide receiver at 16. Instead, they got an edge at two, a wide receiver at 30, and at 16, they got Kenyon Sadiq, who's considered one of the best tight end prospects to come out in terms of all his measurables. It doesn't really stop there. I mean, you talk about they prioritized winning. This is a program. I don't like calling them a program. This is a team that has a losing culture, plain and simple. Those three first round picks, and you add on D'Angelo Pons in the second round, they lost four combined games last year. That's crazy. And you just added five guys or six guys that have played in the college football playoff. And then again, yeah, Jets keep adding winners. You had the best pass rusher in college football last year in David Bailey. You had the best tight end in college football in Kenyon Sadiq. And Omar Cooper Jr. is a stud. D'Angelo Pons could become something. A little confused with the Cade Klubnik pick, but I knew they were going to go for a quarterback. And look, people will compare the three first round picks to Sauce Gardner, Garrett Wilson, and Jermaine Johnson. Sure, the Jets are a terrible organization, remember. They have three first round picks next year, too. And this situation, think of what Arch Manning, Dante Moore, whoever gets to be the Jets quarterback next year is going to come into. Garrett Wilson, Brees Hall, Omar Cooper, Kenyon Sadiq, an offensive line that played all 17 games together last year. They're still a terrible organization, but that's a pretty good situation to say the least. And so, yeah, the Jets did a great job. No way around it.
the commonality between all your teams is that they all got a lot of draft picks, huh?
Yeah, no, seriously, a
Nets
lot of
got a lot
draft.
of draft picks. Jets got a lot of draft picks.
Yeah, Jesus. Yeah, the Nets draft picks and they swung and missed. I don't know if the Mets or if the Jets swung and missed on all their draft picks. Some of these guys totally might miss. Like I know one more area of I don't even want to call it concern, but people will dunk on the Jets for taking David Bailey over Arvell Reese. It's a higher floor over a higher ceiling. I like Arvell Reese to the Giants, but if they're not going to play him at edge rusher, his off-ball position, a little weird to me. David Bailey could come in and get 10 sacks immediately. They just traded Jermaine Johnson. And so the Jets added four starters in 2 days. And so even if they finish with 7 wins, 6 wins, and they're the fifth overall pick, they have three first round draft picks and can move up if they want. So gonna be interesting to say the least. Geno Smith has some weapons.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I like the Jets pick. That was one I was going to mention. Um, I I'll just go back on the Browns. Like I said, I think Browns addressed really everything that they needed. They've got offensive tackles. They got some defense. They got some weapons in the wide receiver room. Um, like I said, I really love the Justin Jefferson pick, the linebacker from Bama. I even kind of like the Taylor Green pick a little bit. Like he's just a quarterback with great size, and it's like, I mean, why not?
Oh, oh,
Why
oh,
not?
good. Another quarterback in Cleveland. That's definitely
I
what
mean,
we need.
well, so that's the thing is I mean, obviously, I don't love them taking a quarterback, but it's like, why not take one just in
He
case
he needs
the
to be a tight
future
end.
and
He needs to be a tight end. He's not gonna get
yeah,
no play at
get it.
quarterback.
I get it, but
He
I
needs to
mean,
go Tebow style. Like
just
come
in
on.
case, just in case,
Have you did you
know.
ever watch an Arkansas game last year? They couldn't
Well,
throw the
no,
ball down the field 30 yards.
I mean, I didn't, but I watched his segment with Gruden, and he's a smart kid. He's a smart kid. He's a smart quarterback. He's got the IQ. I
No,
mean,
he's smart. He just can't throw down the field.
why not? I mean, try to develop him a little bit. Why
In
not?
Cleveland?
Why not?
In
Why
Hey,
not?
Cleveland.
I don't mind Todd Monken though. I
I
don't.
don't I don't mind it. You get Stefanski's out of there. I don't mind it at all.
I
I don't.
mean, but you're talking about develop in Cleveland in the same sentence. They just had a
Yeah,
quarterback battle between two people that the head coach, the GM, and the owner all disagreed with.
no, I mean, I'm not sitting here and saying I'm slobbering over this pick. Like I'm saying, like I'm
Yo.
saying it's a why not pick at round 6. I'm saying it's a why not pick in round 6.
Hey,
Like,
yo.
why the hell not? Let's just go grab somebody just in case this shit doesn't work out. And
So
let's see
what
how
you're
we go.
saying is basically, with the Browns, why not just waste the draft pick? We already did it last year. Might as well do it again.
I mean, you're not wasting picks though. They had a great 5th round. They had a great 1 through 5 rounds. They did.
See, that's the difference
They
between the
did.
Browns and teams like the Rams or Kansas City. You waste the draft pick, trade it for something. Don't waste it on
I,
quarterback. I mean,
I
because
get
think about it. Deshaun Watson is coming back, and he's not getting cut. He's gonna be in uniform, which means that minimum they have like 5 quarterbacks. Someone has to get cut. Someone's gonna have to get cut, which
I
means you
know.
just wasted a pick for someone to get cut.
I think it's going to be Dylan Gabriel.
I think it's
Probably.
gonna be Gabriel
It
too.
probably will be him. But
That's
good riddance. I mean, I good riddance, but still, like,
that's all I'm saying. I don't know. I'm not sitting here saying it's a why not pick. Why the
and
hell
also
not?
you trust Todd Monken that much?
I'm not gonna. I mean, we don't know exactly how he is as a head coach, and we don't know
I
I can
who
tell
he's gonna
you.
be. But
I
I
can
mean,
I
tell
he's
you.
mean,
I mean,
I'll
he was
say
Right.
I'll
damn,
say it like
damn good. He's a damn good coordinator.
yeah. Do I
Yeah, but
trust Todd
so is
Monken that
McDaniels
much?
and Nathaniel Hackett and how
Yeah,
many
but I
other
mean, you're talking about
Nah,
offensive guys
Nathaniel
here,
Hackett
though.
sucks, man.
You're talking
yeah.
about offensive minded guys, though. You're talking about offensive minded guys.
McDaniel is only works on New England's offensive coordinator role. There's not a single position that he can do anywhere else but offensive coordinator for New England.
So, you
I
know,
don't. The thing with me though, like, look, am I a fan of Taylor Green? Sure, I've seen him do some very dumb things. I think going to Arkansas was very interesting. Playing for Bobby Petrino as an offensive coordinator, who is now North Carolina's offensive coordinator, by the way. So I don't want to like absolutely bash on my team, but like I'm gonna take a bash at another team because I can. Like their quarterback room, even with Taylor Green and all the uncertainties, is not the worst in the AFC North. Like they're at Pittsburgh. I mean, I cover the Steelers day by day now, and I actually do think they had a fine draft because of how many draft picks they have. Um, Aaron Rodgers, I feel pretty confident that he's coming back, but Drew Aller and Will Howard isn't the most convincing thing in the world. And even if Rodgers comes back and they have a little more certainty there, I still like the upside of a Sanders or a Green or something like that, or even more like Todd Monken in his first head coaching job. I like the ceiling there a little more than I like Mike McCarthy. And I feel a little afraid saying that because McCarthy's obviously won a Super Bowl and he develops quarterbacks, but I mean, it could work out. And again, I'm not trying to bash Pittsburgh too much. I don't think Drew Aller is going to be a great NFL quarterback, and I don't know if Will Howard's going to be either. And so they're going to be in this situation next year. And so you look at Taylor Green, like, let's say that the Browns suck, or not say they suck. I'm going to go out on a limb, a very wild limb, and say the Cleveland Browns are not going to be good next year. And then you get to week 16, and Shadur Sanders is dealing with some sort of ailment. Deshaun Watson, this is probably the last year they're going to keep him. We go, you're not going to help us anymore. So why not give Taylor Green a shot? What's the worst thing we're going to lose and get into position for a Dante Moore, Arch Manning? And so it might be a waste of a draft pick, but in the small chance it works, then like it works, I guess. But then again, like I'm not gonna say it's gonna work. I'm just gonna say there's a chance. Let him get in the building with Todd Monken and see what happens. Once again, not saying I'm a massive fan of it. So
yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So,
Right.
It's also just like coming from like we're bottom feeders, the line's a little less. But we're franchises that you got to get the little things. And I'm not gonna overreact over a draft pick that might not work out because I see draft picks not work out every year. And so the Browns are probably the same way there.
yeah. I mean, yeah, I don't know. I don't want to turn into a whole Browns Tail and Green segment here, but that's all I'm
Because
saying
that's what
is
the people want to hear.
that's all I'm
Uh,
saying. But yeah, I think the Browns had a really good one. I think the Eagles had a really good one as well. We talked about Mekhi Lemon. I think Eli Stowers out of Vanderbilt, the tight end, he's a really good tight end, and I think that was a much needed pick there. Everybody thought Dallas Goedert was going to leave this offseason. He resigned, got paid. But Dallas Goedert's getting a little older, and they needed a backup tight end very badly. So I think Eli Stowers being in that position is a great pick for them. And he's going to be the guy to step up once Dallas Goedert is done, and if he does one day go to a different team, whatever the case may be. So um, I think he's a really good pick there. I think Markel Bell, the offensive tackle out of Miami. Um, great size. And the guard that they got, Michael Morris from Georgia, like they're just beefing up their offensive line room, and that's another thing that they lacked last year. The Eagles went from having one of the best offensive lines in the league to having one of the worst, and it showed last year. Obviously, their offense all around was just terrible, which kind of know why, but which they got rid of that as well. But their offensive line, nonetheless, to single out a position group, their offensive line was not good. So to get some young guys in that room, especially some guys with some size, I think that was a smart choice by them. So I'm gonna go with them. And then we already talked about the Raiders. Just wanted to shout them out as well, real quick. I think the thing about the Raiders' draft picks is like you mix these picks in with their offseason signings, um, and it's phenomenal. It really is. Like it's absolutely phenomenal. Um, we talked about Gerard McCoy. We talked about well, I think that's the only guy we talked about with these picks, but a lot of defensive guys here. They got Malik Benson out of Oregon, who's got some pretty good size, and he was a pretty good option for Oregon. You got the edge out of Auburn, Kieran Crawford. I mean, like they've got some guy Dalton Johnson, the safety out of Arizona. Like they got some really good guys, and they got a lot of great defensive signings this offseason. So for those guys to come in and you can plug them in wherever you want to plug them in. Then also learn from the guys that they've got on defense and who they just signed. I think those picks are going to be amazing, and I think it just sets them up for success in the future down the road. So.
Yeah.
I'm gonna throw one more out there and I'll be fast. They didn't have a first round pick, but I thought Atlanta did a really good job. They traded their first round pick for James Pierce, and he's not gonna go to prison, it looks like. So that's good for them, obviously. But you talk about their draft. Avion Terrell had first round value before the year, played on a Clemson team that wasn't very good, but him and AJ is a great story. And his yeah, Terrell could totally be a great corner in this league. And Zach Branch is the perfect type of wide receiver for Tua Tagovailoa or Michael Penix because you're going to get the ball in his hands and he makes plays happen. He set the Georgia single season receptions record, was a number one wide receiver coming out of high school. The guy's electric. And so to get those two, and then Harold Perkins, I don't know if he's going to work, but another guy, freshman year, people thought he would be a first rounder. They banked on talent, and I think they did a good job. And obviously, different regime, Kevin Stefanski there. For a team that only had 6 picks, I thought Atlanta did a pretty good job.
Yeah. Atlanta just needs a quarterback. I mean, they have a great team in general. They just need a quarterback. And now they got two immobile 6 foot quarterbacks. Yeah, we'll see how that works.
Hmm.
Um, okay. Anything more on the draft that we want to cover? Players, teams, coaches, GMs, or we can move on to playoff basketball.
Move on.
All right, so playoffs. We are still mid round one at the time of this filming. This will definitely come out before the entire round one is over. But as of right now, there are a lot of games that are 3-1, a couple 2-2s. The only one that's been determined to this point is Thunder, who swept the Suns. That wasn't even a contest. But let's start in the East with the one seed.
Hmm.
Um, Very disappointing, disgusting series, but listen, again, I've seen one of my teams have the one seed and absolutely shit the bucket, shit themselves on national television. So this. I ain't new to this. I'm true to this. You know what I'm saying? Blake and I, we true to this. We seen this happen before. Okay, so this ain't nothing. This ain't phasing me. But uh, we'll start with our other resident Pistons fan. We'll start with Blake and see what he thinks, and then go from there.
So I want to start off by saying it's just very disappointing, uh, disgusting,
Hmm.
atrocious,
Keep it going.
nasty,
Hmm. Hmm.
sickening.
Hmm. Hmm.
This is coming from two Michigan fans that
Yeah.
just saw their basketball team this season. Just
Uh,
remember that.
this
Just remember that.
performance here. This is just all those words in the one, whatever that word is. It's that's what this is what this is.
Yeah.
Um, Now I want to say I want to say you look at I actually let me go back to what I said. Like if anybody remembers, maybe I'll have to clip it. We had an episode probably a few days into the NBA season, and I actually put the Detroit Pistons as uh I can't remember what the question was, but it was like basically a team you think isn't really going to do much, a team that's kind of probably going to be a little disappointing. I said the Detroit Pistons, and I said it because of their depth. This team was not supposed to be a one seed. This team was not supposed to do what they did this year. Absolutely not. But they did it. And I texted in our group chat and I said we had a great year and we had a lucky year. And this is the epitome of that. Like this is
Yeah.
this is showing. That is showing in this series. We had a great year. The Pistons had a lucky year, and that's that. Their lack of depth is not a championship team. Not a championship team. That was the question going into the playoffs with this team was the lack of depth. How are they going to win a 7 game series with the lack of depth that is with this team that's on this team like that is the number one thing and then it's showing and then Jalen Duren
Hmm.
just drop the bag dude like what fumbled the motherfucking bag bro like how how you're this dominant an all-star center an all-star center. He's averaging what, 8 points? Is that
Yeah,
correct? 8 points in
it's
this
like
game?
8, 9 points in this.
Eight, eight, 10,
For reference, he's dropping Draymond Green numbers.
8, 10? And you're an all-star? You're supposed to be signing a max contract this offseason, this summer. You're supposed to be signing a max contract.
Yeah, no way in hell
You
I give you that.
kiss that shit goodbye. Kiss that shit goodbye.
You get
That shit
league
ain't happening.
minimum for that.
So no, Jalen Duren, and I think obviously, like I point out the lack of depth, and that's kind of the case here. It also starts with Jalen Duren. If Jalen Duren was normal Jalen Duren, 20 and 13 every single night, like this would be a totally different series. It absolutely would. But he is just, I mean, he turned into DeAndre Ayton.
Yeah.
We we
No,
were
he's
talking
worse than
about
DeAndre.
DeAndre
No,
Ayton.
no, 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 no.
We were talking
No, no,
about
no.
DeAndre Ayton for the Lakers
No,
a
no.
few weeks ago on this podcast.
I would
And
rather
DeAndre
have
Ayton's having a way better first round series than Jalen Duren is.
I'd rather have DeAndre Ayton on my team than
I
Jalen
would
Duren right
rather
now.
have DeAndre Ayton on this basketball team than
Write some
Jalen
crunk
Duren right
juice
now.
on his
I
mouth
wouldn't.
and get him here. No, I
I
would.
wouldn't.
No,
Absolutely.
Jake, you haven't seen this game. I'm so serious. DeAndre
No,
Ayton would be
yeah,
better.
because I don't want to watch the first round of the NBA playoffs. Like,
Every single time they give it to Wendell Carter, actually, it doesn't even matter who it is. Every single time somebody comes in the paint, They are testing Jalen Duren, and every single time they are winning that test. Every single time.
What percent chance do you guys give Detroit of winning this series?
Zero. We're drawing dead. There's
No,
absolutely
I
no way
don't
we win
think
the
I
series.
I
don't
think there's a chance. I think there's a chance.
I think
No.
there's a
And I
chance.
was gonna get at that. I was gonna get at that with
What's the I'll let you get at it, but the one thing I was gonna say is like what's stopping the Pistons from winning three straight games and two of those are at home
I'll
when they
tell
lost
you.
9 home games all year.
I can tell
they
you
can
that.
rattle off. They can
They
rattle off
can.
three straight. They can rattle off three straight. I think especially because Franz Wagner is questionable heading into Game 5. So that's a huge that would be a huge loss for Orlando. I think if he doesn't play Game 5, I think Detroit wins Game 5.
I
Absolutely.
I
think
think we
Detroit
win.
wins game five regardless.
I think we win game
Your team
five,
is
but we're
built
gonna
on
lose.
toughness
It's
with
going back to Orlando
We're gonna
for
lose going back to Orlando. They're gonna
Game
set
6.
that place on fire. They're
That
going.
is that is
Orlando
going to
will go
be
nuts.
that
They're
is
gonna be
going
loud in that building.
yeah, no, that's going to be a tall task. And it's
guys.
like
It is a tall task, but I don't want to take a shot at
Jake. Wait,
Orlando
wait, wait.
Magic fans.
No,
This is a team this is a team that could contend for an NBA championship, and that means going to Boston
you're
and to Madison Square Garden. You can't
and
be scared of the Orlando Magic.
no, but
no.
listen though, in these four games,
Yeah,
this Pistons team has looked like a 13 seed.
very true, and I agree with you guys. I agree. It's just
They have looked like a lottery pick team.
But let me explain something.
That's the
Last
thing.
game, we were 6 of 30 on 3-point shots. That's 20%. We were 20% on 3-point shots. The
Yeah.
team is fatally flawed. There are two human beings on the team that can shoot three-pointers consistently. Duncan Robinson and Tobias Harris. Tobias Harris is happy in his role. He doesn't step outside of it. Tobias Harris doesn't go for 30. He goes for 16, maybe 20 if he's lucky, and that's the box he lives in. He doesn't go beyond that. Duncan Robinson is irrelevant half the time he steps on the floor. If a three-point shot isn't going in, he's useless. He's a 6'9" forward who doesn't play great defense and can only shoot the three ball. I like him. We needed him, but he's very inconsistent. Beyond that, we were 31 of 82 last game. That's 37% from the field. Now, shooting is very finicky. You could heat up, and all of a sudden, everything could be fine. But if you're down 3-1 in the series and you're drawing dead, it's very hard to spark a shooting uh, to spark shooting, especially when the team already isn't good at shooting. Cade Cunningham is a league average shooter. He's just elite at getting to the rim and facilitating. Asar Thompson, if Asar Thompson isn't standing next to the basket, he doesn't look at the basket. If you gave me a jersey right now, I would have a more consistent jump shot than Asar Thompson. And I'm not even joking
and
with you.
Amen, by the way, and Amen because
And
he's
amen.
terrible too.
Asar Thompson, I don't understand how you get drafted to the National Basketball Association and you decide, I already have a lack of a jump shot. I can't shoot. Let me not work on it. I mean, I've never seen a team so scared of the moment. The biggest flaw is we don't have a number two scorer that can get his own shot. Duran is a 20 and 13 guy, like Blake said, but he gets it within the course of the game. He gets it with screening rolls, he gets it with rebounds and second chance points. He's not Joel Embiid. He's not Jokic where he can facilitate his own offense and get his buckets. So that means you need to have a forward or a guard be your number two scorer. I've never seen $200 million up in the air and a team of guys look at it and say, nah, I don't want that generational money. I don't want it at all. Theoretically, Asar Thompson should be the guy who's number two scorer. But he can't, like I said, if you set a car on fire in front of him and it blew up, he still couldn't see it. I'm telling you, it's that bad. Like this team is fundamentally flawed from the top to the bottom. We just excelled at defense because we try hard through the entire regular season. So we were beating teams who didn't really care or were coming off of a back-to-back or, they just walked in the building. So we tried harder. So we won more games. That's how it happened. But we're fundamentally, like Blake said, not a good, well put together team. The only thing that is going to save this team is if Tobias Harris, Asar Thompson, or somebody else, Dennis Jenkins, says, ah, I'm in the National Basketball Association. Let me go for 30 points. Let me try and help my team. I'm literally watching guys shit themselves on national television. They can't shoot a basketball. This right here doesn't go in the hoop. How are you six
Oh,
for
that's why you
30?
brought the prop. All right, all right,
Yeah.
all right.
This right here scares the Detroit Pistons. How are you 6 from 30 and 31 of 82 from the field? I'm so serious when I tell you this team doesn't deserve jack shit. And it's so disappointing because they were the 1 seed. And it really irks my soul more. If we were like the 5 seed or the 4 seed and we improved from last year and we lost in the first round, I'd be like, okay, we just need to score. We'll be all right. It was a disappointing season. But the fact that we had the best record in the East and we're putting up this performance, I mean, Orlando's just straight up beating us. I mean, I know you're talking about Orlando not being a great team. Orlando somehow realized, wait a minute, we have the size, the shooting, the length, and we can beat this team because we're deeper. And then they
We
just woke up
yeah,
one day and then just started kicking our ass.
we knew this about Orlando though. Going back to the start of the season when they traded for Desmond Bain, people are just like, okay, Orlando, like they're not a championship team, but they could take a step and win a series. Like, what's
I
going to be against Detroit? No, I would not have said that. But Orlando always had this possibility of being like, I don't even know the word I'm looking for, a team with some sort of potential, and now they're showing it.
in
Well,
the
that's just
beginning of the
because they
year,
had confidence.
in the beginning of the year, I had Orlando as one of my sneaky teams who could make a run. And this whole year, they've battled injuries, and that's been their issue. And now they're healthy, and that's what we're seeing. But it's also, don't let that
Yeah,
take away
no,
from
I think
coach
this series
playing
so
absolute.
far, and again, this is someone that's watched probably 50 combined minutes of the 4 games, is much more a product of the Pistons playing bad basketball than the Magic playing good basketball. And even if the Pistons win this series, like, would I pick them against Cleveland? Probably not. And I definitely, even if they got through that, and I'm talking about this while they're down 3-1, New York or Boston, I'd have to take them. But then again, like all it takes is one win and then momentum, and y'all see what happens. Like, I'll make the bold prediction because why not? The Pistons are gonna win this series. I genuinely think so. I think so. Pistons in 7. Clip it when it
I hope
doesn't
so.
happen. Clip it when it does.
I hope
All
so,
right.
but I'm just gonna tell you right now, a team that can't shoot, they have to get hot for 3 straight games. That's literally what has to happen. They have to get
Yeah.
hot for 3 straight games. If you're telling me the Pistons have to get hot for 3 straight games, I would then ask you who on that team could get hot. Because Jalen Duren is already in Cancun. I don't know what happened to him. His mentality, I've never seen somebody be so dominant in the regular season, get to the postseason, and he every single time he steps on the court, he's actively losing money. Like there is money being snatched away from him. In the future, boy, if you told me I had $240 million in the bank and all I had to do was go up there and dominate, I'm 6'10, built like a tank, I'm going through Wendell Carter's chest. And I'm doing it with some authority too. And I know, and there's a reason why I'm taking him in the post and I'm trying to bully him. All right. But every single
Mm.
time he touches the rock, it's like he's scared. I'm so serious. They look like they're scared. It looks like the moment is too big for them. And it's like even in their win, it looked bad. I mean, Cade is having to commit 7, 8 turnovers because there's literally nobody else that will facilitate the offense. He goes to the bench, it looks even worse than when he's on the floor. And like you have to go fleece for Booker, you have to go get MPJ, you have to go get somebody that wants to shoot the ball. You like this is a problem that we have in the NBA. Usually teams get guys who all want to shoot the ball, right? Everybody's trying to drop 30 to get the bag. This is a reverse of that. Everybody is looking at it like, no, hey, take the ball back. I don't want to shoot it. Like, what are we doing? So that's why I feel like it's pathetic. It's one thing if we just got beat on our own merits, like Orlando was just, we were playing some of the best basketball of our lives, and Orlando was just shooting the lights out of it. But it's just like Orlando is getting second chance opportunities at the rim. We're a smaller team. They're out rebounding us. They're out shooting us. They have more confidence. And also the thing is, they have nothing to lose. So that's why they're playing more free. We have everything to lose. All right. No one's getting. I'm so serious. Half of the guys on the team should not be on the team next year. And I mean that wholeheartedly because you cannot run this back. If you are the general manager for the Pistons, you cannot look at this roster and be like, man, they just went up against, best. No, 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 no. Take three or four of them and you trade them and you get a score. It's literally the only way that this is going to happen. It's going to work.
Yeah.
It's bad. All right. We're done with that. Had to get that rant out because, oh boy. All right. Let's stay in the East and let's talk about the Knicks a little bit because they were met. It's the series is tied 2-2 for as of right now. They'll probably play one more game before this is out, maybe. But it's 2-2 with the Atlanta
Yeah, they
Hawks.
play in like 30 minutes, so
Okay, yeah,
30
it is
minutes.
today. All right, so great. They play in 30 minutes and it is a tie, a series 2-2. Obviously best of seven. I said before this series, this was going to be one of the best series, and I said because Atlanta, Atlanta has got guys. CJ walked into the Garden and again was a villain in Atlanta. Even though he's not a villain, he's a man with two kids and a wife. And then, and it's really an interesting series. I'll just say this before someone takes it. The Knicks have all the players to beat the Hawks. Obviously, don't think they can win the championship, but they have all the players to beat the Hawks. They're just a better team, and you get stretches where guys just don't show up, games where guys don't show up. A lot of their losses, Mikal Bridges, last loss they had, he was out there, recording cardio. That's what it was. He was out there exercising his legs, all right, breaking a sweat. Cat wasn't vocal and wasn't assertive enough in that win in that loss where he didn't get the ball enough. So what do we make of the Knicks being tied with the Hawks, even though they're a better team?
yeah, I'll go first. And then I'm gonna pop out for 1 second. My stance on the Knicks hasn't changed since the last time we spoke about them. I think that they can win the NBA championship. I'm not saying they will. They can win the East, especially like now that people are doubting the Pistons. I feel not more confident, but I'm just like the Knicks can go to the finals. And if they don't, we could talk about all the roster construction and stuff. And to anybody that wants to hear that, go to any of our past episodes because we probably spoke about it there. The one reason I still believe in the Knicks, and then again, this could totally be done by the time this publishes because they play in 10 minutes. The two games the Hawks won were each by 1 point, and the Knicks had a few shots that didn't go in. And two, we know the Knicks are streaky. They had two 7 game winning streaks this year. They also had two or a few multiple game losing streaks. And so, again, I use if a lot with the Knicks, kind of like I could use if with a lot of things, and it's just like, but if and if the Knicks getting hot could happen. And if they do it tonight and then go down to Atlanta and win game 6, like you saw what they did in game 4, or game 1, both those ones were by double digits. Cat with his first triple double in his playoff career. Then you go, oh, this Knicks team can. And so again, big if I understand, but if all those pieces fall in place, then they could go on a run. And I do feel pretty confident saying they'll beat the Hawks. I don't know if they'll win tonight, but I do think they'll win this series. And then it's the Boston series, which is the one where you got to be consistent against Boston or they are going to absolutely expose you. And we know that. But the Hawks won 2 games by 1 point. And I think with home court advantage, if the Knicks, this is the one more thing I'd say. The Knicks need, if the Hawks are going to win this series, they got to win one more game at Madison Square Garden, right? If the Knicks lose another game at Madison Square Garden in the playoffs, yeah, that's unacceptable. It's like the Pacers series 2 years ago where they lost game 7 at Madison Square Garden. Again, I understand that OG was hurt and Brunson got hurt during the game and Hart got hurt. If the Knicks lose a game 7 or game 5 at Madison Square Garden with this much on the line and this much pressure on them, that's the last thing you need to see to be like, blow this up. Blow this up, go for Giannis, and start over around Jalen Brunson. And so, yeah, I know that turned into a much longer rant, but they're in the position to win this series. Now it's just about getting it done. Yeah, and with
Yeah,
that, I'll be right back.
yeah, I agree. I think we talked about this when before the series started, and we said that this could be one that the Knicks lose. We knew that Atlanta was going to be a tough team to beat. Um, I think we all said Atlanta was getting at least two in this series, so this isn't a shock to us. Um, I'm gonna, since this episode is gonna be out after tonight's game, I'm gonna talk like New York won. I think New York's gonna win. Um, Now, whether this goes to whether this goes to game seven or not, um, I think that New York is going to find a way to win. I think they're just the better team. I think they just have more depth. Um, and I think they're going to want it a little bit more once you come down to like that stretch of game six, game seven. Like New York's, they're also the team that's been there. They have that experience. So I think they are going to win, whether it's a game seven series or not. Um, but yeah, like we knew Atlanta was gonna be, this tough. We said this on the podcast, and we knew that they had the pieces, they had the guys playing as well as they were, to be in this position to, have them on the ropes. But I think that New York just has a little bit more to win this series, and I think that's what's going to happen.
Yeah,
Yeah, last thing before we move on from the Knicks, unless you have something to say too, Son. Like, I'm not comparing this Hawks team to last year's Pistons team because again, completely different teams. But the Knicks were a 3 seed last year, and the Pistons made the playoffs for the first time in a while. And people were just like, the Knicks should win this series, but we know it's going to be tougher. And it was tough for the Knicks. Like, I to this day still question, and I've said to you guys, how the Knicks won all 3 games in Detroit. And I'm not doing it to rub salt in the wound, but that the Pistons are one of those teams last year where they didn't have the experience, but they're tough. And that's what the Hawks are. And so the Knicks should win this series, but we knew they'd have difficulties doing it. But if they're able to get by, then the Boston series is just as good. And if they're not, then you're in the same situation where it's just like, yeah, kaboom. Everything is going kaboom.
yeah, no, I fully agree with that. Like it's you can't be streaky in the playoffs. Like you can lose a game from having bad shooting, but you can't lose your identity. The reality is you spent 5 draft picks for Mikal Bridges, and he's not even your third best player.
Don't worry, the
Realistically,
Nets turned some of those draft picks into the quality of Mikal Bridges in game 3, so it evens out. Like,
that's what
yeah,
evens it out. That's funny. But yeah, I mean, you just waste a whole bunch of draft picks. I
not
mean,
funny.
not funny.
Not it's not
Um,
funny. Ain't shit funny. All right, continue.
um, But yeah, no, I just think like it happens every single series. Like Mikal Bridges disappears in every series for a game or two, where he just, for whatever reason, he doesn't put up a shot. He doesn't act like he's getting $100 million and was worth 5 draft picks, and he just disappears. There's games where Cat doesn't realize he's 7 foot and just doesn't score the ball at all, and they lose because you're forcing. And the problem is you're apart from 3 human beings, you could really argue two, essentially two. Small guards don't win championships, right? With the exception of Steph Curry and Isaiah Thomas, you could say Oscar Robertson, but he had Lou Alcindor, aka Kareem. So with the exception of 2 guys, small guards don't win championships as the number one player. And you've seen it in some of the series, in some of the games this series. Like Brunson got hunted by CJ. Like CJ was literally actively looking for him and looking for the switch or looking for him to play defense because he knew. And he cut him up. What was it? Game 2, he hit him with a mean double cross. And he didn't know where he was going. So that's my point. And then if his shots aren't falling, he's a liability on the court. So it's just the roster construction. It's the certain players. Um, yeah, I think they'll win, but I give them no shot. They have a shot to beat Boston, but virtually no shot. Let me say that. They have virtually no shot because Boston will give you a game for bad shooting, but other than that, they make it rain. They don't care. They'll let it fly. So that's the thing with them. And so I think you have to play the Hawks to win, but you also have to have a get right game. Like everybody's involved, great offense, figure it out. All right. We're gonna not talk about the Celtics and the Sixers because that's obvious, and the Cavs and Raptors. Who gives a damn about that series?
Yeah, let's wait until they win they win those series and stuff.
Yeah, so we're gonna go to the West where I said already the Thunder beat the Suns, and
Yeah,
now we
we don't
have
need to talk about that either.
yeah, no. But I'm saying we have now 3 interesting series brewing. Spurs is less interesting now that Wemby is back, but obviously 2 interesting series between Lakers, Rockets, Nuggets, Wolves. We'll start with Lakers and Rockets. We'll start with the king.
Hmm.
We'll talk about Legoat. Um, yeah, let me just state this before I hand it off. I said in picking this series, I said I've never doubted LeBron James in my life, but I'm gonna go against him, and now I look like a fool. He's 41 and he's still that guy.
I mean, we all
Listen,
look like a fool.
I mean, I don't need, like, I understand it's round one, but you got to put it in perspective. He's 41. He's the best player on the court. Even with, I know Kevin Durant was injured, but even when Katie was there, he was still better than Kevin Durant. And Kevin
Yeah.
Durant is supposed to be healthier, he's younger, and he's supposed to be better than LeBron James as of right now within the two of their careers. And LeBron has facilitated and organized his team to a 3-1 lead. Um, so I just state that LeBron made a fool of me, even though I think he is the greatest in my opinion, and I've always, been a LeBron guy. But for him at age 41 to be leading this series, I know the Rockets have their issues, and KD could potentially be traded again. For him to still come out here and be the best player out of guys who are, 25, 26, the prime of their careers, and still be the best guy, pretty amazing.
Yeah. I mean, I don't have too much to add here either. Besides, like, I just saw that Shams reported earlier that Luka's probably gonna miss the series against the Thunder if they make it. That's just a shame there. Like, I still think the Lakers would lose that series, but if the Lakers did get Luka Doncic back, or even if they don't and they do beat the Thunder, again, I'm not saying it's gonna happen because it's probably not. That's one of the best things LeBron James has done in his career. At age 41, if he's able to beat that team, again, it's not going to happen, but there was a better chance with Luka, and LeBron's been great through 4 games, and that's awesome. It's sentimental, and the Rockets haven't been good, but the Lakers have been good, and LeBron's been that good, and he threw an alley-oop to his literal son. I don't know if that's ever going to happen in any sport in terms of just the comparison, and so that's just that's insane. That is nuts, and so yeah, you just get more of LeBron. Like I don't know what's next for him after this year, but assuming that the Lakers don't get reverse sweeps, because boy, the Jordan fan club would have a lot of fun with that. Um, yeah, you get to see more LeBron James, and that's cool to say the least.
Yeah, I mean, going back to like what Toussaint had mentioned, like we were all wrong. Yeah, we are. We all picked Houston on this podcast, man. Like let's be for real. We were wrong. So I think it's yeah, like just kind of what Jake said. It's remarkable. Like it's fun to watch. Like it's amazing. I mean, it takes me back to like when I was a kid watching LeBron James in a Miami Heat jersey or a Cleveland Cavaliers jersey and just dominating and just his greatness and like, watching that. So that's been a
But
joy to watch
I was
this
gonna
year.
say, but that's the interesting thing. You're saying he's dominating. He's dominating in a different way. That's
In
what's
a
so
different way.
remarkable to
And
me.
somebody like tweeted like, oh my, like LeBron literally just turned into CP3. Like that's crazy.
Yeah, he's
That's crazy to just think about that for a second. Like you're saying that there's a guy who is 41 years old in this league and just all the great things he did and blah blah. Now he's 41 and he turned into prime Chris Paul. Like that's insane.
he
That's
went
that's
he
really
went
insane.
he went from being one of the greatest forces at the rim to being a mix of CP3 and Magic at
Yeah.
41. Yeah.
Like it's remarkable to watch, and I think like you just have to sit there and watch it and appreciate it and not take it for granted. So like that's like my whole thing with this series. Like, yeah, I don't really have much to add. I think the Lakers have just like their guys have stepped up. We were talking about who's going to be that second option. Like, I threw out Marcus
Marcus.
Smart's name, and Marcus Smart's looking like the best free agent signing of this year.
Him and
So,
Luka, they finally got a LeBron finally got a shooter that actually shoots well with him on the
yeah.
floor.
Exactly. So, like their guys have stepped up and they've stepped in and they've done a
You,
tremendous job. And
you know what's so interesting though? This team reminds me of the Cavs when Kyrie left. You got Marcus Smart, who's kind of
yeah,
like JR. Like, I know he's doing more than JR, but like he's in that JR role which you wouldn't expect him to be helpful, but like he's giving you shots, he's
yep,
passing a little bit. You got Luke Kennard, who I know they didn't really have a shooter in that sense, but he's kind of reminds me of like a Kyle Korver who played. And then you have Rui, who's Kevin Love. You got DeAndre Ayton, who's pretty much gives you the same prediction as Tristan, same production as Tristan Thompson at this point. So it kind of reminds me of that team.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, I think the Lakers have just been playing really great basketball all around. Their guys have stepped up in a tremendous way, and that's kind of just the credit there as to why they're up 3-1. I think Houston on the other side, like they just don't look like a basketball team that likes each other. And I think it goes back to the KD tweets and the text and all of that shit. And him not even what playing game two and that's it this series.
I mean, he
So
wasn't wrong. Katie
I mean
wasn't wrong.
it could be a different scenario if he was playing, if he was available for the whole series, maybe they'd be up, maybe the series would be tied 2-2, maybe they would be up 3-1, who knows, but I think like Houston just doesn't look like a good basketball team. They look like they hate each other. So that's all I got.
That real quickly on Houston, Katie wasn't wrong. Şengün probably has the most useless 35 and 15 I've ever seen. Like, what was it, game three or game two? He had like 35. And then they were like, Ime called it out. He was like, "Yeah, we drew up a play, but then they scratched it." Şengün scratched the play and tried to get a jump hook on the right block and just completely missed almost all the rim. And LeBron came down, and then they came down. And that's why I think when they hit the buzzer beater and LeBron sent it to overtime was that game. Um, so like the Rockets just aren't good. I mean, Amen Thompson, we talked about Sar can't shoot. Amen, ridiculous athlete, can't shoot to save his life. And he was supposed to be the guy who steps up in the point guard position. He's not a point guard. Şengün gives you the most useless 35 and 15 you've ever seen. And his defense, oh my goodness, is the worst defense I've ever seen from a center.
Mhm.
Jabari Smith, misses more shots than he's supposed to, especially with the playing time he gets. Reed Shepard's pretty good, but he has a limited role. He just really shoots. And then, but beyond that, they just have guys. I mean, Okogie is a guy. Holiday is a guy. Tari Eason, if he shoots the ball, if Tari Eason shoots a 3-pointer, I'm treating him like Ben Simmons, with all due respect. He's Ben Simmons. Like,
Yeah.
he's Ben Simmons that's willing to shoot. So that's about it. Like, their team is not constructed well. They grossly overestimated how good they were without that fifth guy in the rotation. Because remember, they had Jalen Green, they traded him. They thought we just need a plug and play scorer, we'll be fine. Fred VanVleet gets out. That's basically the team, the strength of it. But, hopefully they figure it out. There's a report that Katie might be out, especially with the tweets and everything. And, they don't really like him. He doesn't really like them. So let's move on. Denver Nuggets Minnesota Timberwolves. Now, this has been a lit series. Definitely one of the best series so far. I mean, we got jawing back and forth. We got fights. We got negativity. We got people in the post game press conference sending shots. We got Jay McDaniels talking about, oh no, they all suck. They're all terrible defenders. Then the game after going out and dropping 20 and 10 as a 3-and-D player. You got Jokic who's shooting terrible from the field. He's like 8 of 22, 7 of 25 for one game. Like, it's just, we'll start there. I'll just say this. It's amazing that Jokic has shot terribly because he did this last year, but he did it with the Thunder series where they just shut him down defensively, and it's because they swarmed him and he didn't know what to do. And the offense only functions through Jokic. Jamal Murray can get a bucket, but he's not a facilitator, he's a scorer. And the only person who really facilitates is Jokic. Christian Brown's getting $100 million, and it looks like part of that money is a waste because he's not doing much to facilitate any points on his own on his end of the bargain. Um, yeah, the Nuggets just aren't that great of a team in terms of like how they're built, and they're gonna have to find that out the hard way. I don't know if they run it back next year, but they're gonna have to make some changes. Aaron Gordon is good, but without him, they're nothing. When he sat, I think it was game two, they were just they were trash. I mean, they couldn't defend to save their life without Aaron Gordon, who's their best defender. And when they got him back, it was still even a battle. So, and on the Wolves side, Dante DiVincenzo leaves not the last game, but the game before. Tore his Achilles, like a KD thing. Just that back step always gets you. Tore his Achilles, number zero is cursed. And then, you got Ant. He already had the runner's knee, hyperextended it. He's going to be out for a couple of weeks. So that's a shame. We don't get to see Ant anymore. But I'll turn it over to one of you. Wolves leading 3-2. What's the key for both these teams in in the rest of this series to win it?
I think Denver's just got to play their game. They got to capitalize off the injuries. DiVincenzo's out, Ant's out. Nas Reed went down. What was that last night with a rolled ankle? We don't even
Yeah.
know if he's going to be playing um, in game. What is that? Game six.
Hmm.
So um, they got to capitalize. They've got to take advantage of that. I think defensive presence obviously is going to be less with Ant not there. DiVincenzo's not there. So Jokic has to be consistent. He's got to play his game. Um, yeah, I mean, I think that's really it there. Like they have to capitalize. If they cannot take advantage of that, then Denver is very, very lost and needs to go back to the drawing board this offseason. They have like they have the golden ticket right there to win this series is capitalize off injuries. So I think unfortunately with the yeah, I think unfortunately with the injuries, like Denver is going to win this series now. I picked Minnesota before the series started. I think through the first three games, I think America was like Minnesota's going to win this series, and now the whole cards have flipped over. So they got to capitalize.
Yeah, I don't have too much else. I mean, especially if Anthony Edwards isn't going to play, which it doesn't look like he's going to. The Nuggets, oh, even with Edwards, the Nuggets have the best player in this series, but now you don't have a player that can match even half that production in the nicest way possible. And so if I'm the Nuggets, I give Jokic the ball every time, and they've been doing that already, and just let him go to work. And now it's just two more games of Jokic going to work, and I'm gonna bet on Jokic over a Timberwolves team that not only lost Ant, but lost DiVincenzo and lost Nazarene. And it just like it's unfortunate. And I also think the Nuggets are going to win this series. But even if Anthony Edwards was playing and they were healthy, I'd be like, the key for the Nuggets to get back in this series is to play through Jokic because Jokic could do something special any given night. And the supporting cast follows. And that's why he's probably the best passing big to ever exist. And so that's all I really had to say. And I keep looking up because I'm watching the Hawks entrance and it is really weird, honestly. But yeah,
Yeah,
no, that's all I have to say there.
yeah, Timberwolves don't have a scorer or facilitator available, like an elite scorer facilitator. They have Julius Randle, but Julius Randle is not an elite scorer. He can score, he's their number two option. But when Ant is on the court and on the team, you don't really need another elite scorer. You just need a scorer. They
Yeah.
had 25 turnovers last game, which is the most in any Wolves playoff game ever. It's the most turnovers they've ever had in a game in franchise history in the playoffs.
Cool.
And I think they've had like 99 playoff games, 100, something like that. And this is the most. So that just tells you it was a gimme game for the Nuggets. Like anybody could have told you the Nuggets were going to win last game. But the writing's on the wall, like you both have said. The Wolves don't have a facilitator. They don't have an elite scorer. Their best scorer right now is Jaden McDaniels or Julius Randle, and even that you can get around that. Jokic just has to be efficient. Like he hasn't been efficient, but he has to be. Some of it has been Gobert. Some of it has just been the fact that he's missing shots. Sometimes he's getting open threes and he's just not hitting them. And sometimes that's how the ball rolls. You just not, it just doesn't go your way. There are times that we've all hooped and the shot just doesn't go in. So now he has to lock in and say, I'm the best player in the world. I'm gonna go get it done. Um, so that's that series. We won't talk about the Spurs Trailblazers because we know, Wemby is back after the concussion and he just stepped right in and was shooting 35 feet from out. I just don't understand.
Raps, brother. Raps, brother.
When he
I
comes
mean,
back
I
from a
guess I think the
concussion,
rule is because of the San Antonio Spurs. That's the one thing I'm gonna say.
he,
Like, what?
he
Oh yeah, go.
I was gonna say he came back from a concussion and immediately said, "Oh, lasers." I'm gonna shoot that like I'm Dane.
Did you see when he was out and he said to the Blazers, you like you would have lost in four if I was there?
Yeah,
Like
they probably would
something
have.
along those lines. Like the one thing I'll say on that series, and then we can move, is just like, yeah, the NBA just pretty much passed an anti-tanking rule. It's because of the San Antonio Spurs, and it's not only Wemby, Stephon Castle and Dylan Harper are really special too. And Devin Vassell's also really special. I know he wasn't that high. And if the Spurs win multiple championships over the next few years or next decade and a half, Wemby's obviously the center, but getting Castle and Harper and even De'Aaron Fox had a great game in game four, and everybody was just like, oh, he's worthless. Like, enjoy Toronto or wherever the next expansion team is. I mean, it just speaks to their roster. And yeah, they're just a really special team to watch. And I didn't think they'd be this good this fast. So that's all I had to say there, really. Like, it'll be interesting if they get to the Thunder or if they play the Nuggets next and it's Jokic. And it's just like Wemby versus Jokic is a great story. But that's all I had to say there.
Yeah, that's at this point, if Ant isn't gonna come back within any time soon, I would hope it'd be the Nuggets, just because I without Ant, the Wolves are like an awful team to watch. I'm not gonna lie to you. They're just I don't want to watch the Wolves if Ant's not playing. This just
Sorry.
that's honestly how it is. But all right, that's gonna wrap up the NBA. Now we get to everyone's favorite segment of the evening, tweaker of the week. A lot of great tweakers. Really, really like there's a lot of great tweakers this week. We can even extend it into a little bit of next week, obviously. Does anybody want to start or do you want me to start? Because I already got mine locked and loaded. Go ahead, Jake.
He might not be fired by the time this episode airs, but I mean, go look at the standings. Go look at other teams that have fired their managers. Why does Carlos Mendoza still have a job with the Mets? I'm done giving them energy. It just makes no sense, and they clearly don't want to change. And yeah, the Mets are the worst organization. Like that, just like get rid of him. That's all I have to say. Like, I don't. Yeah, yeah, I genuinely don't know what else to say. Just fire him. Like it's not hard. It's not hard. I've been fired before. Fire him. Yeah. I'll
Um,
think of my second one, but I'll let you go. Yours is locked and loaded. The Mets are getting no more brain power from me, honestly. None.
well, I mean, Tigers aren't much better. We're somehow number one in the AL Central. We're 15 and 14, and we're number one in the AL Central. So that just tells you how trash our division is. Um, Yeah, that's bad. And the next highest is Cleveland at 15 and 15. So yeah, that just tells you everything you need to know. My number one, okay, my first one. My first one is let's go back in time. A couple of months ago, when we were still recording in Chicago, I put Klay Thompson as tweaker of the week. Why did I put Klay Thompson? Because he got into a relationship with a famous woman by the name of Meg Thee Stallion. Now, I basically said, Clay, let's go on. Come on, man. Like, this is not what you want. Like, this is not your usual type. This is not your style. Like, this is not going to end well. Boy, was I right. If you were on the internet within the last week, you pretty much saw how, you know, all the news hit the fan. Meg Thee Stallion accused him of cheating. Now all these Meg fans are coming out and they're saying this and that. I'm not going to be here to speculate because everyone else's relationship is their relationship. What she said isn't always absolute. There's always Clay's side. There may be a side that we don't know because they're not telling us because obviously they want privacy. So my tweaker of the week are all the Meg Thee Stallion fans, all right? And I say that because of this.
No, dead ass. They're
Wait.
Yeah.
Y'all are the tweaker of the week. Because if you're going to start insulting a man on information that you got from an Instagram story, all right, which again, there's two sides to everything, all right. Clay hasn't said anything, so you can't just be like, well, she said it, so it has to be true, all right. Now, Meg Thee Stallion has been documented lying about certain things in the past, so I'm gonna leave that to everyone else's judgment. I'm
allegedly.
allegedly she's lied about stuff in the past, so I'm just allegedly, allegedly. Um, my point is this: get your information right. All right, I don't care about the cheating stuff. That's their problem. That's Clay and Meg's problem. But if you're gonna start calling him a role player and say that we didn't know Klay Thompson before this whole thing, don't insult one of God's greatest creations to ever shoot a basketball. Out of every human being that has ever touched one of these, he is top three and he might be number two. All right? He is, at worst, the third greatest shooter of all time. And you will not disrespect a four-time NBA champion and a Hall of Famer just because you want to get something off your chest and you feel hurt that you're so parasocial that you want to do a deep dive into their relationship. Whatever you think about Meg Thee Stallion or Klay Thompson, their relationship, I don't care. I could give a damn. I could care less about their relationship. But why are you in? At least get your facts straight. That's like me saying, Meg Thee Stallion is just some like rapper. Like she's nothing. That sounds stupid. So at least respect the man, all right? Because you don't know him. You obviously didn't know him before this, so which means that you still don't know him. Like, if you're gonna insult somebody, at least get the facts right. Don't insult them and be like, well, I didn't know who he was. Because you don't know basketball. You obviously have no ball knowledge. You don't know. So relax. I'm seeing women in the UK talk about we don't know Klay Thompson because you in a different country. All right? Ain't no basketball being played in the UK. Stick to football, all right? Relax. I saw a woman today putting spells on Klay Thompson. Chill out. What are you doing? She was literally doing voodoo and a hex on Klay Thompson. What? You so parasocial you're gonna put a hex on a man because you don't know what happened in a relationship? Stop it. Stop it. That started irking my soul, man.
And then
Like,
they had a they put out a movement. I was seeing last night. They put out a movement. They said other girls were cheating on our boyfriends today for Meg Thee Stallion.
I saw
What?
that.
I
Like,
said,
you know how parasocial and a loser you gotta be to be thinking in that way. The celebrity relationship I love broke up because somebody cheated. They're human beings. Things happen. You've been cheated on. You might have cheated on somebody else. It don't give you the right to start putting voodoo and hexes on another person. What's wrong with you? Are you
yeah,
insane? Stop.
yeah.
Like, and my second one. So you guys know I have a pet peeve against owners who do ridiculous, stupid, dumb things. Like I hate when owners get this money and this power and they start losing their mind. This one goes off to Tom Dundon, the new owner of the Blazers. You cheap. Ooh, stop being cheap. You just bought a team for $4 billion. You're not going to get your money back immediately by not putting t-shirts out in a playoff game. All right? The quickest way to alienate yourself is to be stupid and cheap with the fans. I know that it worked. He was the owner of an NHL team. What NHL team was he the owner of, Jake? He was,
I
he
have
was a
no idea.
he
I
was the
gotta think.
owner of an NHL team that won the Stanley Cup within the last couple of years. And what he did
Uh,
was he basically cut costs.
well, he's the Hurricanes owner, but they
Yeah.
haven't won it. They haven't won it in a
Oh,
minute. They
I
haven't
thought
won
he
it since.
I thought he
But
was an owner of a team. Well, that just proves my point more. All right.
yeah,
You
facts,
were
dude. If he's
you
the
were the
Hurricane.
owner of a yeah, you were the owner of a team. You bought another team for $4 billion, and all of a sudden you're gonna try and cheapen out. He's basically making players check out early so that they wouldn't be late in the checkout. He's not bringing team masseuses and and medical people to help help the players before games. He tried to say that two-way players couldn't travel with the team so that he could cut costs. Are you that cheap that you're trying to cut costs for a $1 billion franchise? This is what I'm talking about. It's like you have billions of dollars and you're trying to cheapen out on experience to save money. Man, if I had $1 billion on a sports team, I'd be throwing parties every night in the stadium. Like I'd be throwing like the fans would be getting a party every night. I would make the fan experience wonderful. It'd be great. Like we need to start realizing who we're selling the teams to, and we need to put the owners accountable. I know they have ownership of the team, but they need to be held accountable. Like
I knew the Blazers were a cheap organization when they couldn't get DeAndre Ayton to the game because he couldn't get down his driveway because of it being icy. Like that was one of the craziest things to me. And they're just like, yeah, no, we can't help you. So no, I'm right there with you.
I think it's just disrespectful to the game. Like if I show up to a playoff game, I'm like I'm excited, and they're like, "Psych, you don't get any T-shirt. We're gonna make the experience worse for you." Oh, I pay my taxes like a normal human being. I go to work, I come home, I want to go to a game, and a guy who makes $5 billion a year is trying to cheapen out on my experience. Like, with all due respect, spend the money. That's why I kind of like Steve Cohen because at least he spends money. It may not be the in the right way, it may not be with the right players,
No,
but at least he tries.
I love Steve Cohen. He tries. It's not his fault. This is we
That's
don't
what I'm
need.
saying. I love that he tries. He sometimes like we could get into it. Boba Fett, massively overpaid for him. It looks like it right
He off
now.
home run today.
Well, good for him. Hopefully
Yeah,
he heats up, but
it's 1-0 right now. So stay tuned. Oh,
uh,
6-0. Whoa.
yeah.
All
Well,
right.
by the end of this podcast, they would have blown that 6-0 lead and the game would be over 11 to
Holy
6
shit,
documented.
RBI sack. Oh, it's a sack fly. I thought it was an RBI double. All right, cool.
But
Uh,
those are my tweakers.
the only one I got is I don't know if I'm talking to James Dolan, Leon Rose, I don't know, but reports came out that Mike Brown might be on the hot seat, whether they get to the conference finals or not. Get the fuck out of here, man. Come on, bro. Come on, bro. Let's let's please not do this. Let's
Yeah.
please do this. Isn't that's the whole point that you hired Mike Brown for? This is the whole point. The whole point. He was supposed to be the guy to come in and get y'all to these conference finals and win these conference finals and get y'all to the finals. We don't know if that's going to happen this year. Who the hell knows? They got a good fucking chance to do it, but don't sit here and say he might be on the hot seat. Stop it.
It's like
Stop.
who else are you gonna hire? Billy Donovan?
You're going backwards. You're going backwards.
Steve Kerr? Like, come
You're
on.
going backwards. I was even upset at the Tibbs firing. I understood it a little bit in terms of the rotations and the minutes that the stars were getting and the bench players were getting. It wasn't a good balance. But come on, man, don't do this. Let's
They
stop.
should, yeah.
Let's stop it. This is the whole reason you hired the guy. This is the whole reason you hired the guy. You're gonna lose your team. You're gonna lose your team. You want to keep firing guys. You want to keep hiring guys. You're gonna lose your team.
You heard about
So
that news by Pablo Torre about James Dolan?
let's nah.
He said that Dolan has a private like security force that like if you say something or do something against his interests, they'll show up to your door like the feds. Like they'll see you on the camera and they'll see you doing something and they'll find where you live and they'll show up at your door and let you know they don't like what you did, like the feds.
Wow.
Yeah, good thing it doesn't touch the Rangers, or I would be getting a lot of calls. Yeah, I'd be getting a lot of calls. Last tweaker of the week for me, and then we could get out of here. Shay and Dylan Brooks. Um, I just don't get it. I like Shay, don't let him get under your skin, man. And like you sort of did. And it's just funny. It's funny. Like
You saw his
Dylan,
post though, right?
yes, that's the point. Like Brooks does not deserve an ounce of respect in the NBA. And he's done this to every guy. Thunder in four, you move on. Like that's it.
Yeah, that boy in
And we know
Cancun.
Shay be corny, but like today's post definitely was an Instagram post.
Yeah.
You knew that was coming through. All
All right.
right. Well, that'll
So
wrap it up. NFL draft,
eight
NBA.
nothing.
Oh boy. Yeah, don't lose to the Nationals now. You get beat 8-0. You have an 8-0 lead and you get beat by the Nationals. You deserve that team deserves to never play baseball ever again. Who's pitching for the Nationals?
Oh God. Oh, it was Zach Little to start.
Yeah. Nah.
Yeah, man, that's it. That's all we got. As always, run up socials, TikTok, Instagram, like, comment, subscribe, share it out to everybody. Comment your favorite draft pick. Who's gonna be NFL Rookie of the Year? Let's comment that. Favorite draft pick slash NFL Rookie of the Year.
Ty Simpson.
And that's about it. Another tweak of the week right there. Anyways, we're out of here. That's all we got. Stay fly as always. Peace.